The WWE Draft 2021 is in the books. Which side got the better end of the deal? Was it Raw or was it SmackDown? You got to stick around to the end of the video to find out. Got the full results, my reactions to the draft picks, and as well as that, going to be going through perhaps some of the teams that have been broken up and all sorts of changes we could be getting now in the next 12 months in WWE. So going to look through both the rosters now, starting with Monday Night Raw, which appears to have the much bigger roster of the two here. Looking for the superstars, we've got AJ Styles. Of course, he's still got Omos by his side. I'm really happy to see AJ remain on Monday nights. I think that he certainly could be a future challenger for Big E once that tag team stuff stops with AJ. So looking forward to seeing what that brings to the table. Tozawa remains in the 24/7 division. Alexa Bliss is on Monday Night Raw, and of course Alexa Bliss will probably not get a revenge on Charlotte Flair. Maybe she'll come back with a slightly changed gimmick. We'll have to wait and see. Angelo Dawkins, of course, and the Street Profits, along with Montez Ford, will be together still on Monday night. So I'm pleased to see that. There was rumours they were going to be broken up in the draft with Angelo Dawkins being on SmackDown. Pleased that WWE didn't do that. Apollo Crews is on Raw. That will be freshening up the mid-card. A great opponent for Damian Priest, who also remains on Monday Night Raw. Austin Theory, I like the way he debuted there last night, attacking Jeff Hardy. He's definitely going to be a cocky heel, and I think things are going to be better for Austin Theory going forward now on Monday Night Raw compared to the last time he was on this show. I've got high hopes of what WWE will do with him. Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, that rivalry comes over to Raw. I'd be interested to see what happens with the SmackDown Women's Championship. Hopefully it's not just a trade of the belts, but I mean, as it's been pointed out elsewhere, I mean, she didn't really lose the Raw Women's Championship, so would kind of make sense with that, but at the same time, she would have never lost the SmackDown Women's Championship either. I prefer to see them being able to actually lose those championships further down the line, but perhaps that will happen at Crown Jewel. But Bianca Belair will definitely be a top challenger as well. Those two will definitely be two of the top faces of Monday nights, as well as Big E as well, your current WWE champion. He's got some fresh opponents to face, but one of them that won't be is Bobby Lashley, who I expected to go to SmackDown, but still fun to see that him, along with Hurt Business, will remain a part of Monday night. So yeah, should be fun. There's a lot of fun rivalries as well for Bobby Lashley to take part in. It's to face Big E each time, does he? Carmella, self-explanatory. Corey Graves on commentary, keeps the couples together. As I say, we've got Chad Gable, the Alpha Academy, that are on Raw. That's fantastic stuff to see, along with Otis. So Otis here, I think, could be a top contender in time. I think the Alpha Academy could be getting more TV time, perhaps even a tag title run could work for them on Raw. Commander Aziz as well, of course, with Apollo Crews, so that makes a lot of sense there. Dana Brooke is on Raw. They didn't really say too many nice things about her last night. She got buried quite quickly by Shayna Baszler. I imagine she'll be enhancement talent at this point. Dolph Ziggler, the Dirty Dogs with Robert Roode as well, is a part of Raw, which is quite cool to see. I mean, add some depth to the tag team division. I think both of them superstars are worthy of TV time, even if not perhaps booked the most excitingly in 2021. And the Mysterios are on Raw, which is quite cool to see. Doudrop will be there as well. She'll add something to the women's division, I'm sure. Drake Maverick, of course, the 24/7 championship picture. We've got Edge, which of course he'll be towards the main event side of the picture, and I'm excited to see what he brings to the table, along with Finn Balor as well. Rumours have suggested that Raw, some of the creative, wanted Finn Balor to fill the role of what Drew McIntyre did for the show. If that is true, that's exciting times for Finn Balor fans, and personally for me, I would be quite up for that, because of course when Finn Balor joined the main roster, he joined Raw back in 2016, was pushed as the top guy. It didn't last very long, did it, after that injury, and he never quite recovered from it. So I quite like to see that. Gable Stevenson is on Raw. This one was a shock for me. I didn't see this one coming. Really pleased to see he's been hot-shotted to Monday nights. And also, I've mentioned Alpha Academy already. Why not start him off there, just to groom himself up, get himself into the right position, and when he's ready, break himself on his own. Could take on Otis, Chad Gable. Would be fun to see. I think that could be a fun little pairing if that was put together, in my personal opinion. Jackson Riker, the one you all wanted to know about, remains on Raw in the 24/7 championship picture, I'm sure. John Morrison is on Raw, and a shout out to Ella J. She wanted John Morrison and Seth Rollins on the same show. She got her wish. The two-man power drip has happened. Karrion Kross is on Raw as well. Let's see what he brings to the table. I think the mid-card is probably what we're looking at this point. I think with the roster that we've got. I don't think he's going to get to the top tier just yet. But one that could be is Keith Bearcat Lee. Of course, rumours suggesting he could be going to the heel side. That would push him up the card. Him versus Big E, something I really want to see. Kevin Owens is another one I would turn heel personally, just because I want to see him go towards that championship picture. But we'll have to wait and see what we're going to do with KO. Much rumours going around about his contract situation. Perhaps in the meantime, he could be a babyface, taking the likes of Keith Lee and getting them to the next level. Liv Morgan is probably going to get more TV time on Raw, which is good to see. I'm looking forward to see what she brings to Monday nights. Hopefully she can push herself in and around near the championship picture, but there does look to be a bit of star power there, so I'm not sure how quick it's going to take. Mia Yim would be the same one for that, but I can see her perhaps being on main events. MVP, of course, will be with her business with, of course, Bobby Lashley. Nia Jax will not get her revenge on Shayna Baszler. We'll talk about Baszler in a little bit, but yeah, Jax remains on Raw like she's always done. Nikki ASH with the Raw Tag Team Champions with Rhea Ripley, they are on Raw, but they're the only women's tag team left. Every tag team has been broken up in the draft, so your guess is as good as mine with that very fresh what that's going to lead to. As I mentioned, Omos, of course, will still be in the team with AJ Styles. I expect that to break up during this 12 months. We'll see what happens with Omos after that going forward. Perhaps he'll be pushed as a top single star. We'll have to wait and see. R-Truth as well will be in that 24/7 championship picture. The Raw Tag Team Champions of RK Bro are there. The 24/7 champion in Reggie as well. We've also mentioned the likes there, as I said, Seth Rollins. I'm really happy Seth Rollins is back on Monday nights. Of course, it keeps the real life partnership, him and Becky Lynch together on the same show. As well as that, Seth Rollins will be a natural fitting opponent for Big E going forward for the championship, so I'm looking forward to seeing when that program does take shape, probably around December time if I had to predict when that would be. T-Bar has already teased he'll be going back to Dijakovic. I really hope so. That would be a great addition to the mid-card. Tamina has been split up from Natalya. I'm not quite sure why, but I suppose we don't get rematches at least, but yeah. We have Tegan Knox, and Tegan's got her name back. That's good news at least. She's been split up with Shotzi Blackheart, but they weren't getting TV time, so even though it's breaking up a women's tag team again, this one I'm not so much got a problem with. I'm hoping Tegan finds her groove on Monday nights and gets herself a spot on Raw each and every week. The Miz, once he returns back from Dancing with the Stars, will be on Monday night, so yeah, it makes sense. He can have his program with John Morrison, quite down for that. Veer has been split up from Jinder Mahal and Shanky. They were talking about Veer as being a potential great single star on Raw last week. Will he get lost in the shuffle? Time will tell on that one. And Zelina Vega has been put on Raw as well. She'll probably get more TV time. Will she get more victories? That remains to be seen. But you can see that is a stacked Raw roster for you right there. There definitely is depth in and around everywhere. When you look around the main event scene, the mid card, the tag team, the women's division, it's just the women's tag team that's lacking teams, but I'm sure WWE will throw some more teams together when they haven't got people with anything to do in programming on TV right now. So as you can see, that's the array of talent that Raw got on night 2, which for me, there's a lot of star-studded power there. I think Raw definitely did pretty well on night 2 of the draft. But going on to SmackDown to see what they've got here, they've got star power, but they've got a lot of rising stars as well, so it's an interesting looking roster. Let's go through it. Aaliyah, of course, on SmackDown. It's going to be interesting to see what she's going to do. Of course, she's been doing a lot of dark matches before Raw and SmackDown. She's been from the NXT roster being called up. We've got Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo. That tag team has been, doing quite well on Raw, getting wins in recent weeks, been slowly building up. I think they'll do well getting TV time and being used better. SmackDown knows how to use the tag team division very well, so I've got high hopes for this team here. As well as Hit Row is very much a big surprise package being put on SmackDown. As I say, I've got more faith in the booking. Called up from NXT, a great faction. The gimmick just works. Let's see if it can go mainstream on SmackDown. It's done very well in NXT to this point. Cesaro is on SmackDown. I think at this point, looking at Raw's roster, I would have thought Cesaro would get lost in that roster. So I think for SmackDown, that's a good place for him in my opinion. Charlotte Flair, being on SmackDown. Let's see what happens for that Raw Women's Championship in time. But definitely the opportunity, and she'll be giving opportunities to perhaps some of the likes of Toni Storm and Aaliyah going forward. Drew Gulak is away from the 24/7 championship picture, but probably will be a jobber. Drew McIntyre is one of the top stars on SmackDown going forward. Him and Roman will be a program. It's just a matter of when, not if. But it's who they'll be feuding with otherwise. I guess they're going to be used to help make new stars, which I guess isn't a bad thing. We've got the Viking Raiders on SmackDown. That should be good to add some depth to that tag team division. Like I said, they weren't booked that well for Raw for probably since they've come up, so let's see how they get on SmackDown. Happy Corbin with Madcap Moss. It's not my sort of gimmick the last couple of weeks, the way they've been doing the laughing, but what they did before was quite fun, so let's hope they get back to that sooner rather than later, but certainly will be, if you want, a welcome addition to the mid-card or tag team division if needed. As we say as well, we've got Jeff Hardy, who's teased a new ego, a new alter ego. Willow's coming to WWE, isn't he? I'm not a fan of Willow. I would prefer Jeff Hardy, but that's just me. I'm sure a few people would be quite excited to see what Willow would bring to the company. The Usos are on SmackDown, and it was a bit like a bit of a letdown the way that was done on Raw. Really, I was really hoping for more drama with that, but certainly it's the right result anyway, not splitting up the bloodline with Roman Reigns. Like I say, Roman Reigns as well is one of those that's going to be, he's the main man on SmackDown. He can build new stars, make new stars himself, and still remain the tribal chief, the head of the table, and the Universal Champion for a long, long time to come. Jinder Mahal with Shanky, like I say, that'll be a team on SmackDown. Perhaps Jinder will have Shanky as a bodyguard. Who knows? That could be interesting how that will play out. Maybe Jinder will be pushed up the card again. Let's not hinder the Jinder. He did it well on SmackDown the last time he was there. King Nakamura with Boogs. All is right in the world there. Seeing that combo there. I'm pleased that Nakamura remained on SmackDown and Priest remained on Raw, just because, for the mid-cards there, they've moved a few people around rather than moving the champions. So, yeah, it freshens things up in that way. Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods with the New Day, of course, there. That's one of the top tag teams there for SmackDown. As Kofi, I suppose, could go occasionally and break into the single stuff and go for the championship again. We've seen it before. And as well as that, Xavier Woods wants the King of the Ring. Just give him that opportunity. Get him to Crown Jewel. Get him in the final. I think it'll be fun to see. Mace is going to be interesting. Will he go back to being Dio Madden? I think a repackaging is definitely on the way. Mansoor and Mustafa Ali will definitely add some depth to that tag team division as well on SmackDown. Naomi also is on SmackDown. Perhaps she will get a push at some point. I'm liking the feud that's going on with Sonya Deville at the moment. Maybe a future opponent for Charlotte. That definitely would be something I'd like to see further down the line. Maybe perhaps that could be one of your top babyface stars on SmackDown, because right now it does feel like SmackDown lacks a top babyface in the women's division as we go through some more of the names. Natalya being one of them there, a veteran, could go back to the babyface side there, but one of the big names I'll be talking about in a couple of seconds, I definitely think will be. Ricochet is on SmackDown, breath of fresh air. I mean, this guy is an extraordinary talent. I think he'll get a chance to really showcase himself on SmackDown more. Probably will still be on the enhancement side though, I would imagine, but would like him in and around the mid-card. Rich Holland is there also. For me, that was a big surprise seeing him there. I wonder if he's ready for this spot, but definitely see him as a future star, and WWE clearly see that as well, so they're hot-shotting him into this position. Sami Zayn is on SmackDown as well, and of course Sami Zayn's been doing some fantastic work for the last number of years. If it's not broke, don't fix it. The female that I think could be going to the babyface side is Sasha Banks, because, well, Banks, I think, makes the most sense out of her, Shayna Baszler and Charlotte Flair if you want a top babyface. But Shayna Baszler, for me, I think is going to do some fantastic work now she's been moved to SmackDown. This could be the move that we look in 12 months' time and say this was the move that got her to the next level. Clearly never got to the next level on Monday Night Raw. I think here there's a spot been made for her to become a top star on SmackDown. And Fox as well, with the legit MMA background, just feels like a natural fit for me. Sheamus is on SmackDown. Perhaps he can push himself up from the mid-card again back towards the championship picture. We've seen great character and great in-ring work on a consistent basis from Sheamus. I'd like to see that. Shotzi is just Shotzi. She could be a babyface that could be pushed hard. I mean, the Tank thing, I'm sure, would get over with the younger part of the audience, so let's wait and see. And Toni Storm as well, a future star as well. They definitely need to push her, in my personal opinion. And the last one I'm going to talk about here is Xia Li from NXT. Be interesting to see how she's going to be used on SmackDown going forward. Of course, the Tian Sha thing for me was definitely not working. I've got a lot bored of it in the most recent sort of times and months, but she's definitely an impressive performer. Let's see what she brings to Friday night. But the question is then, we've seen the two sides, which brand got the better end of the deal? I think if you look for star name and star power, of course the two biggest names from the men's division is on SmackDown. If you look with it with Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre, if you look things from the women's division, SmackDown has done well actually getting Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks in there. Raw does have Becky Lynch, does have Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair for me is still that rising star, but probably in the next 12 months will be, one of, if not the top female babyface in the company. I think Big E has got that potential for the male side as well. But when you've got the likes of Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, Edge, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens. There's a lot of names there. There's a lot more to go around that Raw main event scene. It was definitely lacking before this draft. It's definitely with a lot more strength and depth after this draft, and of course the superstars that have got the potential to get to that next level as well, like a Riddle as well. Raw is in a very good place, and I do think Raw has won the draft in my personal opinion when you look at the array of talent they have managed to acquire and keep hold of. When you look at the likes of Bobby Lashley and the Hurt Business as well, I thought Stable Warfare was going to take place on SmackDown. They've kept them separate. It's the Bloodline on one show, the Hurt Business on another, and let's hope that's where they can keep going from strength to strength. But last little note I'll just say about SmackDown is, even though I think Raw's got the better end of it, I think SmackDown, just like Raw, have both got potential to make future stars. There's definitely star potential. If you're looking around the mid-cards of both shows, if WWE wants to, they really, for the first time in a long time, feel have the opportunity to start making new stars, new main eventers, new people that we could say, if not next year's WrestleMania, the WrestleMania after, we could be looking and saying, hang on, these people have got their opportunities, they've got their placements there, because someone like a Keith, a Bearcat Lee, definitely can get towards the top of the card. There is still a lot of potential in Karrion Kross, despite the way he's been booked on Raw so far. It's been much better in recent weeks than how it debuted. I'm still not a fan of the mask. Give him Scarlet, but it still can be done. And with SmackDown, we've said they're the likes of Hit Row and people like that. They've got potential to really take people to that next level, and also stars that we didn't expect called up. Gable Steveson, we've got Rich Holland, we've got people that could be, you know, future real stars in the company. So all in all, I do think the draft, when you look at the way the layout, the actual rosters looks pretty exciting. The only place I feel a bit lackluster is the women's tag team division. I think that's really gone downhill, and it's almost like starting again with WWE. But I feel with tag team wrestling in the women's division, it's going to continually be that way, sadly, because even your champions are not really a designed tag team. It's a throw together tag team, but I'm sure hopefully WWE will be able to make a division out of that. But all in all, I'm excited. The structure of the draft I still think could be done better, but that's perhaps for another time, another video. But I'd like to know your thoughts in the comments below. What did you think of the draft this year? Are you excited with the rosters that you see? Who do you think could be the MVP of the draft picks? I'm not talking about Montel, Vontavious, Porter at all. No, I'm talking about who you think we will look back in 12 months and say, that was the draft pick that stood out amongst the rest. One last minor note before I leave you, there were a few superstars that were not drafted at all, which is interesting to keep notes of. Of course, Bayley and Asuka both are out injured at this particular moment, so neither of them were drafted. It'll be interesting to see where they come back into when they come back to WWE. Eva Marie has not been drafted. That's a very interesting note. We'd like to see where she will eventually end up. I'm hoping it's on SmackDown away from Doudrop. I have seen enough of that rivalry. And also you have to keep in mind as well, the superstars that will be able to go wherever they want, whenever they want. The Brock Lesnar's, Goldberg's, John Cena's of this world as well. So just to keep a note of that as well. But that's all from me anyway. Thank you for watching. This has been SCW here on YouTube. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. Take care. Have yourselves a good one. Check out all the other videos that are on the channel for you right about now. And I'm looking to come back this week for a live Q&A as well, so you can ask me any questions, get interactive with me live on YouTube as well. I'm looking to do that on Wednesday evening UK time, so it'll probably be Wednesday afternoon if you're in the United States. But that's all from me. Thank you for watching. Have yourselves a good one. I'll see you next time here on YouTube.